So the subject of today's deep dive is a horse named Sounds of Earth. Such a great name, by the way.
It is. And the mission of this deep dive is to use his story to completely rethink how we define a winner. Okay, let's unpack this, because we're looking at a horse who is judged historically not by his victories, but by his incredibly lucrative, breathtakingly consistent failures.
Yeah, and in the racing world, perhaps more than any other sport, the metric for greatness is fiercely rigid.
Very black and white.
Exactly. Horses are judged by one incredibly simple question: how many big races did they win? You either cross the finish line first in a major stakes race, or you're just part of the pack.
Right.
But to look at Sounds of Earth through that traditional lens, it completely misses the point of his career. It misses his greatness entirely.
So let's start with the raw, baffling numbers from the source material, because they really set the stage for this entire paradox. He was born in April 2011 over at Shadai Farm.
Right, which is a massive deal.
Yeah. Huge deal. He had an elite pedigree. His sire is Neo Universe, and his dam is First Violin. He was owned by Shadai Group owners.
And just for context, that's a unique joint ownership system in Japan. Multiple licensed owners share the horse instead of your typical large syndicate.
Yeah, and Teruya Yoshida served as the official owner of record. So he has the financial backing, he has the royal bloodline, everything is set up for him to be a superstar. But then you look at his actual career record.
This is the crazy part.
30 starts. He won 2 races. Ever.
And we need to define what kind of races those were, too, because they were the absolute foundational rungs of the racing ladder.
Bare minimum stuff.
Right. One was a maiden race, which is literally just a race restricted to horses that have never won a race before.
So everyone in the race is a loser up to that point.
Exactly. And once you win one, you can never run in a maiden race again. The second win was an allowance race called the Hanamizuki Show, which is just a minor step up for horses with limited conditions.
We never won a graded stakes race.
Never. Graded stakes are the major leagues, grades 3, 2, and the absolute pinnacle, grade 1. He had 0 graded stakes wins.
0. But here is the stat from the article that is just, well, it's mesmerizing. 7 graded stakes, second place finishes.
7.
7. And 0 thirds.
That's the wild part.
Yeah. And then 17 finishes outside the top 3 entirely.
It's hard to even wrap your head around. When you're running in these massive, chaotic fields of 16 to 18 elite horses, the difference between second, third, and fourth is often just a fraction of a second, or a bad bounce, or a slightly wide turn.
The bad luck, basically.
Yeah. So to consistently land exactly in second place without ever accidentally falling into third, it implies this bizarre kind of precision.
Well, how does that actually happen mechanically? I mean, are we talking about a horse that just inherently knows how to run behind someone else?
No, it often comes down to racing style. Sounds of Earth was a classic closer.
Okay, so he stays in the back.
Exactly. He didn't jump out of the gate and take the lead. He settled back in the pack, conserved his energy, and relied on a massive, explosive burst of speed in the final stretch.
Which sounds great, but I imagine it's risky.
Extremely risky. The problem with that style is that it requires absolutely perfect timing and pacing. You need the horses in front of you to tire themselves out slightly.
So if you launch your run a fraction of a second too late.
Or if you run into a wall of other horses and have to change lanes, you run out of track.
Wow.
His 0 third-place finishes suggest that when he had a clear path, his closing speed was lethal enough to pass almost everyone. He just kept running out of track right as he reached the absolute ultimate leader.
That is so frustrating.
Right, and that's why the Japanese racing world gave him a reputation as a pure silver collector. He was basically an artist of second place.
So the mechanics kind of dictate the heartbreak here. And the heartbreaks are what actually built his legend. Because, well, he wasn't racking up second place finishes against weak fields, right?
Not at all.
He was pushing the absolute best horses of his generation to their physical limits. Let's look at his 3-year-old season from the source material. He gets a second in the Kobe Shimbun High, which secures him a place in the Kikasho.
The Kikasho is the final leg of the Japanese Triple Crown.
It's massive.
It is a grueling 3,000-meter stamina test. It's almost 2 miles. It is entirely designed to break a horse's will.
And this was right after he missed the Satsuki show and placed a really disastrous 11th in the Japanese Derby, right?
Right, so expectations weren't exactly sky high.
But then the Kikasho happens. The winner that year was a horse named Toho Jackal. And Toho Jackal didn't just win, he shattered the historical race record.
He ran an unbelievably fast race for 3,000 meters.
But the detail that defines Sounds of Earth's entire existence, is what happened right behind the winner. Sounds of Earth also ran faster than the previous race record.
It's just incredible.
He ran a time that, historically speaking, was utterly brilliant, and he lost by just half a length.
Half a length after nearly 2 miles of running.
You run faster than anyone in history except the guy right next to you on that specific day. It really makes me wonder, and I've been thinking about this a lot, was Sounds of Earth just incredibly unlucky to be born in an era of record-breaking super horses? Or did he fundamentally lack that final killer instinct to push his nose across the line first?
That's the million-dollar question. And it raises an important question about how we judge elite performance, Context is absolutely everything.
Right.
In almost any other year, his performance in that Kika show would have been a legendary front-page victory. He had the physical capability of a champion.
Clearly, if he's breaking old records.
Exactly. But his value in the ecosystem of the sport was the sustained elite pressure he applied to the actual champions. He forced Toho Jackal to break that record.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. If Sounds of Earth isn't breathing down his neck, Toho Jackal probably doesn't run that fast. Sounds of Earth dictated the pace of history, even if he wasn't the one snapping the ribbon.
It's the ultimate iron sharpens iron scenario.
Terrifically said.
And we see this exact dynamic play out again in his 4-year-old season. We arrive at the 2015 Arimakinen.
Oh, this race.
Yeah, for context, the Arimakinen is a massive year-end all-star race in Japan. The fans actually vote on which horses get to compete. It's a huge spectacle. You've got Goldship, who is running his final race, a total legend. You've got Kitasan Black, the future absolute superstar of the sport. Sounds of Earth enters this race as a long shot. I mean, nobody expects a horse with 2 minor wins to do much against this lineup.
But the stretch run of the Arimakinen is where a horse's true character is revealed. It's where fatigue sets in, the lactic acid is burning after a long season, and the crowd of over 100,000 people is just screaming.
That must be deafening.
Oh, yeah. And when they hit that final stretch, Sounds of Earth is charging. He absolutely refuses to disappear into the pack.
He makes this unbelievable run, and he loses by a neck. A neck.
Do surprise winner? Gold Ector.
Second place, again. The horse with only 2 minor victories nearly takes down the biggest race in Japan. And then at 5 years old, he does it again at the 2016 Japan Cup.
Another absolute monster of a race.
He's staring down Kitasan Black. And at this point, Kitasan Black looks totally unbeatable. Most of the horses in the field are just running for minor placements. But Sounds of Earth launches this incredibly powerful late run.
Doing what he does best.
He reels in the champion, but nearly. Not quite. Second place.
The psychological toll of that on the fans is immense. Because no matter how perfectly he was ridden, no matter how deeply he dug into his reserves, he always finished second. 7 graded stakes, runner-up finishes.
It's agonizing.
It really is. But because he proved over and over again that he could go toe-to-toe with giants, the racing world stopped looking at his win column. They started treating him like the elite athlete he actually was.
Which leads to a decision from his owners that, honestly, on paper looks completely insane.
Oh, completely.
His biggest official victory is still that minor allowance race, the Hanamizuki show. That's it. But his connections decide to ship him overseas to compete on the world stage at the Dubai Shima Classic.
Sending a horse with 2 minor wins to Dubai is an incredibly ambitious, expensive, and logistically complicated endeavor. It's not a vacation.
No, but the craziest part of the source material, and here's where it gets really interesting, is that nobody in the racing world laughed at his entry into Dubai.
Nobody batted an eye.
The commentators, the fans, the rival owners, everyone silently agreed he absolutely deserved to be on that field, because anyone watching the mechanics of those races knew his raw talent.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it also explains the math behind his massive earnings. The purse structures in Japanese horse racing are heavily weighted toward the elite Grade 1 events.
Wait, let me see if I have the math right on this. Are you saying the second place payout for a massive race like the Japan Cup is actually larger than the first place payout for a lower level Grade 3 race?
Precisely. The prize pools for the Japan Cup and the Arimakinen are astronomical. The runner-up in those races takes home a fortune that totally dwarfs the winner's check of a lesser stakes race.
That is wild.
So Sounds of Earth wasn't just losing. He was losing the richest, most difficult races in the world. By consistently being the second best horse against the absolute best competition, he was compounding a massive fortune.
That makes total sense, but it still feels like a glitch in the matrix,
Oh, completely.
Let's put his 467 million yen into perspective, because the article compares him to a horse named Logi Universe. Logi Universe was a Japanese Derby winner. He He had 4 graded stakes victories. He reached the absolute pinnacle of the sport.
He was a true champion on paper.
Right. Yet, Sounds of Earth, the horse who never won a graded stakes race, out-earned Logi Universe by over 100 million yen.
It's a profound commentary on consistency versus peak performance. Logi Universe reached the absolute mountaintop on Derby Day, but perhaps lacked the sustained year-over-year durability at the highest level that Sounds of Earth possessed.
That durability is key.
Definitely. Fans recognize this deep, blue-collar work ethic in Sounds of Earth. He was always showing up to do the grueling work. That's why they bestowed upon him this incredibly paradoxical title, the strongest two-win horse.
The strongest two-win horse. I love that. In Japanese racing culture, no horse embodied that always the bridesmaid, never the bride energy quite like him.
Never.
I think that made him infinitely more relatable to the public than the undefeated super horses. His story was about the gritty reality of consistently fighting champions.
But that endless fighting, that constant stretching for a finish line he could never quite cross first, it eventually takes a physical toll. You can't run against Kitasan black and gold ship year after year without it wearing down your body.
Yeah, and as age began to catch up with him, his performances naturally started to decline. He kept racing until he was 7 years old.
Which is quite senior for a flat racing thoroughbred.
It's up there for sure. And the effort was always there, even when the physical results began to fade. His final race was the 2018 Arima Kinnan, the exact same race he almost won years earlier.
Right.
But this time, he finished last.
It's a sobering way to end a career, but the fact that he was still sound enough to be on that track at age 7 is a testament to his physical durability.
Absolutely.
Now, normally, a horse with his elite bloodline and a $500 million bankroll would be retired to stud. They become stallions, passing on their genetics to the next generation.
But Sounds of Earth did not. And I have to assume that's directly tied to the lack of grade 1 victories on his resume, right?
Yeah.
I mean, breeders want the winner's genetics, not the silver collectors.
That is the harsh reality of the breeding industry. The commercial market demands winners. So instead of the breeding sheds, Sounds of Earth transitioned into a peaceful second career as a riding horse at an equestrian club.
Which honestly sounds lovely. A quiet life after years of battling the absolute best. But sadly, that retirement didn't last nearly long enough. According to the article, in February 2023, Sounds of Earth developed severe colitis, which is an inflammatory bowel disease, and he tragically passed away.
So sad.
He was only 12 years old.
It was a heartbreaking end. But his legacy is incredibly secure in the history of Japanese racing precisely because it is so statistically bizarre.
30 starts.
2 minor wins.
7 agonizing, brilliant graded stakes second-place finishes, and a bankroll that puts actual champions to shame.
It's a career you couldn't replicate if you tried.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more.